Those type of hands, 6-7 suited. I saw New Jersey in the chat room said 6-7 suited is a folder. 6-7 suited is definitely not a caller. Very rarely will you ever see me limp in with it unless I'm in late position. We've got a lot of people in there. Very seldomly will you see me call in raises with it unless it's raised and then called 2 or 3 places, and it's not a huge amount of chips.
You got a lot of implied odds there if you do hit a big hand.
Right. The times I'm going to be playing it, I'm usually going to be opening the pot with it from late middle to late position, maybe middle position to try and change up my game a little bit. And again, I'm basically going to be playing that hand to either, to flop my hand and have the best hand, win the pot with a continuation bet, or have it, check down after I make my continuation bet and make a hand. I'm not looking to run a big bluff with it, but that's the type of aggressive game that I pretty much play, and it's I like hands like that myself, as long as I don't have to invest a lot of money, and I give myself a chance to win the pot without having to show it down. I've got no interest in calling that from early middle position. It's definitely not a calling hand.
Sure. The next one on Kipper's list was quicker calculations of pot odds and hand odds, which, the hand odds, we went over this in a few shows now, which the 4-2 rule is a very quick way to figure out your hand odds on that. And if, to go over the 4-2 rule again real quick, I butchered it last time, but I'll try again.
We're counting on you, Ace.
So you flop just as an example, here's a quick way to figure out your percentages of winning a hand, or making the hand that you're trying to hit. If you, is that pizza?
Probably.
It
Score.
Is. Pizza!
Thanks, Mom.
We love Mom.
Lake of Fire's mom sends us pizza
Mom's
regularly,
the best.
so she's the best. Okay, the 4-2 roll. So quickly, if let's say you flop an open-ended straight, so you have 6, 7, 8, 9, for example. So a 10 or a 5 would make you a straight. So you have 4 10s in the deck, 4 5s in the deck. There's 8 cards out there that can hit your hand. The 4-2 rule is from the flop, if you stay to see the next 2 cards, then you can take the 8 outs that you have and multiply that by 4, which would be 32, which would be approximately 32% of the time you will make that straight.
If you stay
through both cards. Once the turn card comes, obviously you only have 1 more card to come, so you cut that in half. So that's where the 2 comes into play. So now you have 8 outs times 2 would be 16% chance of making that straight on the river. So it's just a really quick, easy way, and it's usually within 1 or 2%. So it's really close on that. So that's a quick, easy way to figure out the percentages on that. And this is another thing going into the patience. If you have a hard time just sitting there and folding and you're not really paying much attention to the game, maybe you can practice this while you're playing. Say 2 hearts come out on the board, you can quickly go, I got there's 9 more hearts. If I had 4 hearts to a flush here, you can go, well, I would need one of those 9 hearts. 9 times 4 is 36. I got about a 36% chance of making the flush. And you can keep those things going up. Or maybe you give yourself other quizzes, like you flop 2 pair from there. What's your chances of making a full house? And these types of things that just help keep your mind active in the game, which is going to help you also with your focus and those types of things. Now with the same thing there, his other part of that was the pot odds, and relating those to the percentage of the time that you're going to win that hand. So if the blinds are 10 and 20 and you limped in and it's you and the big blind in the hand, and so there'd be $50 in the pot if the blinds were 10 and 20, and the flop comes out and you have an open-ended straight draw, so you have a 32% chance of winning, and the big blind comes out and bets 150 at the $50 pot. Now you can see that your pot odds are this. You got 150 that he bet plus 200 or plus 50 that's already in the pot. So there's 200 total that you are potentially able to win from this. It's going to cost you 150 to call. You can see that you're barely over 1-to-1 odds on your money. So if you are 32% chance to win, you're more or less 2-to-1 underdog in the hand. So you would need better than 2-to-1 odds in order to make that a good call. So that's just another quick way, and that all relates into, maybe that can help you with your patience on there as well, and just kind of mentally going through some of the math and those types of things. After you do it for a long time, it just becomes second nature. Especially with online, it's even a little easier because they always tell you how much is in the pot, and you can see how much they're betting. And there's actually some other sites out there now. I'll give this little tidbit of information. I was kind of saving this one, but there's a site called PokerWise.com. It's WIZE, PokerWise.com. This is in the Prima Poker Network, and they actually have. It's a 3D room, so it's a huge download. So be prepared if you go over there. That's a monster download. It takes a long time, but once you get in there and download it, they give you like every statistic you could possibly imagine for playing this game, and it's available to everybody on the site, so it's fair. But they'll show you the pot odds, they'll show you your percentage of winning, and all these types of things versus random hands and those types of things. I believe it even shows you your percentage of hitting a flush, hitting a straight, those types of things from what you're holding and what comes out on the board. So it's a crazy software system that they have over there, and I thought it was just terrific for the mathematical side and learning those things. But the more you do anything, the more natural it's going to be to you. So if you're constantly figuring out your percentage of winning, then when it comes out, you don't have to do the math. You have a flush draw, you got 9 outs, you don't have to go 9 times 4 is 36, I got a 36% chance. When you hit that, you'll go, oh, I have a 36% chance. You don't have to figure it out. It's all second nature to you. So, you have anything else to add on that, Lake?
No, not really.
Okay. I think I did a much better job this time with the 4-2 rule than last time. I butchered it pretty bad.
There is one more thing with the 4-2 rule, actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
Say you've got that open-ended straight and you've got a 32% chance of hitting it. Say 2 of those cards are suited on the board, and you think you might be up against a flush draw. So one of those 5s and one of those 10s are now going to not make you a winning hand if they get there. So you started with 8 outs. You just adjust for that. Take away those 2 hearts as outs and adjust that down to 6 outs and do the math from there. So now you've got a 24% chance. And that really actually, you really should be keeping those numbers in mind as well when you're playing multi-way pots.
Yeah, I knew as soon as you started saying, I knew that's where you were going with that. But
same goes with if you're on a flush draw, you want to take away the non-paired card. If it's 8 of clubs and a 7 and a 4 of hearts, you want to take away the 8 of hearts as a possible out if you put somebody on a set, because that would give them a full house. So
correct.
And at the same time, if you've got the ace king of hearts and you just put them on a pair, you can add the overcards in there as well. So that goes into more on figuring your outs other than the actual pot odds and stuff like that. But you got to keep all those things in mind and don't fudge the numbers. Don't say, well, I'm getting my money in 20%. When don't stretch it. I guess if you're going to play by the numbers and use the excuse that you're calling because of pot odds, make sure you're actually in the positive, because if not, you're making a bad call on the pot odds, and you're doing just the opposite of what you're claiming to do. You're not doing close to what you're doing. You're doing the complete opposite. So learn the numbers and kind of stick to them. That doesn't mean don't play the hand, but don't fool yourself into thinking you have to call because of pot odds. I see that so many times. People say, oh, I have to call.
That reminds me of a recent story. Lake and I went to a poker game, and this girl, that's all she could say was, oh, well, I have to call. I have pot odds, and I have this and that, where she never had the right pot odds to ever make a call when she said she did. And she was in her big blind, and Lake could move all in, and her response was, I already have chips in the pot. I have to call. And, she consequently got very lucky, like 4 hands in a row, and kept doubling up through Lake, and she split one pot where he had a monster lead in the pot, and she had to hit a perfect card in order just to split, and got there and stuff. But so she feels like she made all the right plays, but the math just wasn't there. She was way behind every time she got her chips in. But